Yeah, I don't like the fetishization of like renaming like grips, like calling things. Like I always made fun of on the senior film set when they called like the C-42s or C-52s, what are those called?
The clamps,
C-47s,
right?
yeah, the clamps.
The clamps, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a clothespin. They call it C-47.
Yeah,
I think they're so cool.
Hey, I went to the same film school as you did,
yeah.
so like I remember that.
All right, well, let's do an intro. Hey guys.
Oh, that wasn't the intro already?
I don't know. How's it? Hey guys, what up, YouTube?
Oh my god.
This is this new episode here, episode 11, Bottenbig Fireside Chat. We got Eric Urmanita here. You may know him from his podcast, Two Nerdskis and a Podcast. You might know
I can neither confirm nor deny that is the podcast, and that is my name. But hey.
Okay. And you might know him from his recent photography venture that's just getting started. So maybe you'll know him from if you're watching the future when that blows up and gets 1 million followers, and then you come back and watch this measly old channel.
I doubt it'll be a million views. That'd be nice. I mean, like, I probably doubt it, though. Okay, serious question, though, because I've been thinking about this before we started. Okay. I mean, before, like, when you asked me to do this, I was like, so, how long have I known you? Like, what? About 7 years?
I actually remember the first moment I met you.
Well, I mean, I do, too, but,
no,
like...
Okay.
But, like, well, no, but my question is, like, have you and I actually, like, ever actually had a sit-down conversation before?
I think so. The very first time we met, right?
Was it? I mean, it was like brief, but I don't remember like you and me seriously sitting down, like something similar to this, and just like talking or whatnot. But yeah, I remember. Do you want to describe the first instance?
I'll say my part of the story, and you can tell me what might be wrong.
Do that.
So I've talked about it on the channel before. Like, I just moved down here. I was living in a really crappy like kitchen cabinet, basically that was extended to a room. And I had an old Volkswagen Beetle, and it was always breaking down. And I think it was at a point where I was at school. I took the bus to school or something, and I really needed a ride home. So I was like going up to people and asking them if I could get a ride home, or if I could get like a jump from my car, if I could get my car jumped, something like that. And I remember talking to Eric, and we were in line at the Armor Theater at CSUN to go in one of those classes.
It was.
And you were just sitting there.
Was it 210 Halloran?
Yeah,
it was.
probably.
It was like
yeah,
TV film aesthetics.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like one of the intro before you start the film program.
Right. Yeah. I remember.
So we were just like getting ready to join the film program at CSUN, and I was talking to someone. So I started talking to him, and I was like, "Hey, do you think I get a jump on my car or something?" And or I started a conversation with you just so it didn't seem like I was using someone for help. And then we were talking, and you ended up just walking to school like you didn't have a car or something like that.
So I was living at the dorms at the time.
Yeah.
The first semester I started at CSUN, my parents wanted me to really kind of like get acclimated into like college life, and so they were like, I mean, I was at like the local JC, and we can get into the JC part because it ties into this, but like my parents didn't want me like getting distracted that first semester, so they were just like, no car first semester. When you come back home for the second semester, during the winter break, you can take your car back down. I was like, okay, cool. So like for the most part, I was basically kind of just like walking back and from school, and I'm like, I got a lot of miles on my feet, or for steps on my feet. God, I don't know how to explain this, but yeah,
a lot of steps on your feet.
That's basically about it.
That's like getting experience under. It's like I got a lot of experience under my belt. I got a lot of steps on my feet.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it. But I remember just being like, shoot. Like, I've been talking to this guy. I'm trying to get something out of him. It's kind of sociopathic thinking about it, but I was like desperate. I was like, I really need some help right now. And now it's almost like I'm wasting my time talking to someone who can't help me. And then I was stuck in a conversation. But, and then we ended up joining. I'm sorry if it sounds rude. Obviously, we ended up entering the film program together, and we got to know each other better. But yeah, like having sit-down chats, it's just, I was in a lonely place in my life. I was not ready to make friends, I don't think. I couldn't invite anyone back to my house to talk.
But it sounds like your house was a real shithole.
Yeah, it was horrible. And I've talked about it before. I won't get into it, but I had a roommate. I called him the racist roommate.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was 100%. He's just really not good.
That's pretty fucked up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
So my perspective.
Okay.
So I remember I was talking to you. Yeah, I don't remember that part, but I just remember we were talking about stuff, and I'm like, because I told you, I think you were talking about like, so where'd you transfer? You transferred here? Like, it's like, where'd you transfer out of? Like Sierra College? And I'm like, Rockland, California. He's like, yeah. And I'm like, shit, dude, I'm from Granite Bay. Yeah. So full disclosure, we're both from the 916, the Sacramento region. So like, it was really cool to like know someone who was from the region and transferred from the same junior college as I did. There's only one other person I know who transferred from CSUN. Who transferred from Sierra to CSUN, but for like a completely different degree. But yeah, it was so weird. And then like as it turns out, as I later moved on through like the semesters, like I know another guy named, you remember Jeremy? He used to work in the equipment room or whatnot all the time.
I think so.
He also,
we could bleep out names in case they don't want to be talked about.
It turns out like he spent some time back up north, and like he had a 916 number still,
and
he's lived in such a site, so like he was very familiar with like the area and everything. It's like, oh man, small world. So like that was cool. Great.
I think we could. We'll either just cut this part out, or we could bleep the names because I don't know if they want to be talked about. I want to talk about your podcast. You haven't been doing that in a while, I've noticed.
So we went on hiatus. We'd been doing it
I did that recently too.
we hadn't really said anything, but like we have been doing it for like over a year, and like so the podcast is me and my co-host Jeff. Jeff actually lives all the way back up north. So the way we record our podcast, we do it through like a service called Zencaster. So I start a recording session, he joins in, and that's how we record episodes. So we mainly talk about movies, but we wanted to talk about like video games and TV shows as well, but we haven't. But at some point, like towards the end of last year, Jeff decided he wanted to like take a step back because he wants to really work on his own kind of like filmmaking stuff or whatnot, and he also wants to really kind of like do his own thing. And I'm like, he's taking a break from the show, and I'm like, and I was all set to like, with a new co-host and everything, kind of just like figure things out, but then like I decided like, this is really our thing, and like he's the one who really wanted to like really do this besides me. I wanted to do it just as much as he did, but he's the one who really came up with like this idea as well. It was just equally our thing, so I just like, I don't know, it's not really going to be the same, so I decided I would take a break from the show too. And then like the other thing too is I can get further into this. I've been open about it on my Instagram a bit and social media, but like long story short, without getting too much into it, like my brain decided to have a brain fart. So mentally I was not in a very good spot towards the end of 2021. So I was like,
it'd be hard to find someone who wasn't in a mentally good spot, I think, in 2021.
It was, it was like, it was like a factor of like multiple things. It wasn't just like pandemics or whatnot, just work related. It was like a whole factor of like other things going on in my life, and then like without saying what it is, like I had one final straw that broke the camel's back, and then I just was just not in a very good spot. So so that's another reason why I decided to step back from the show as well. So like the show's not over. We do want to we do want to go back and do it, but I think if we do it again, it won't be as often, because like we tried to do it like every week. We did that for the most part.
You did a lot. You guys have a lot of episodes.
Yeah, we do, and we have some Saturday specials, as I like to call them, because like episodes would come out Fridays, and then like if I had specials, they would come out on Saturdays. And so I think if I haven't talked to Jeff about this, and I'm sure he would also agree to it on some level. But like if we did do it again, if we were to go back, when we do go back, we probably wouldn't do it as often. Probably because he has time for other stuff.
It's a lot to keep up.
It is. It is, because how often do you do this? Like
we shoot every other week.
Yeah. So so I think that sounds better, honestly, because like you want to be able to like keep up that creativity, and so by the way, Josue is also an old classmate of ours.
We were in the same.
I watched that interview actually before we started. Before I came over here, like. It took me like at least a couple days, because like it was pretty long, but I was engaged with it, and I really liked how you need some sort of like creative outlook, so not just to keep your creativity going, but also kind of like keep your brain sane, I guess, or whatnot. So that was another thing too. So I decided the other thing too is like I want to do a second podcast.
That's what I was about to say too. Like it's time for a Urmanita universe,
like create my own podcast universe.
Yeah, you're a fan of Kevin Smith, right?
I am, but
the Smodcast and all that, the Hollywood.
I am. I don't know if I want to go that far, but like I'm like when I do it, like it'd be the same thing. I don't know if I would do it that often. Like if I did I mean, maybe once a month because I can focus on other things. It gives me more time to work on other stuff. I mean, like, and then the other outlook I have is like photography, which so like I think it was Jeff who suggested that like you should get a camera because like you can create, you know, like, and this was still, and I was like kind of still in like my depressed state. I was in a depressed state that I did not know about, and like I was not really like listening. And then once I had my mental kind of like breaking point, I was like kind of just like assessing my life and whatnot. I just like, you know, I need something just like creative to chew. Yeah, you're right.
Like, because you get into it. I mean, I don't know you, but I just in general, when you get into like a funk, you're re-going over your problems. You're re-going over everything you've done in your life. You're re-going over like all the mistakes you made and regrets you have and blah blah blah. And it's just your brain is like an engine circling around, and it's like a tire that's just circling, and you need to put it on a track so you can actually go somewhere.
So so long story short too, I started doing therapy after I had my breaking point, and then like
that's also hard to do.
It is
especially to be in a spot where you're depressed and you don't know about it fully, and then you hit a breaking point, and to not and to actually think like, okay, it's time to actually, you know, get something going now.
It was difficult for me to come to that like realization. Well, not really difficult, but I just realized like, you know, I should do something about this. So like luckily, so there's another podcast that I listen to. I don't know if you know who Michael Rosenbaum is. Like
I've heard of him.
He played Lex Luthor on Smallville, and he's also like a very like well done like voice actor. Like he did the Flash and the Justice League cartoons.
You watched Smallville, didn't you?
Yeah, Lex Luthor did for like 7 seasons and came back for the finale. Okay. So he does a podcast called Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum, where he talks to celebrities about like personal problems, and he's really comfortable with it. And like one of his sponsors is a therapy site called or therapy app called BetterHelp, which is like online therapy. So like, and it's you get paired up with a real therapist, and if you sign up with him, you get like 10%.
Okay, let's not be giving out promo codes to other podcasts.
The point is I took this up, and I'm like, that's how I got help, and like
that's cool.
And like it wasn't immediate, but like pretty much the first session, like the weight was just lifted off my shoulders, and like so I advocate for therapy. Like there's a lot like therapy does. It's like I'm the kind of person, I've always noticed that like I tend to help a lot of people. I mean, especially since I work in retail. Yeah. That's what I currently do right now. And like I tend to help a lot of people, and like I help a lot of people outside of work in general, because I guess that's just who I am. I've been so like influenced by like superheroes and just morally righteous characters in like movies or television that like
you want to line yourself up with the ideals.
Yeah, I mean, well, not necessarily. I mean, like I don't want to be like the complete goody two shoes, but like the point is like I've helped so many people that I've failed to help myself in the process. So at that point, it was time for me to like help myself, and therapy like helped me like get to that point. And as a result of therapy, I started to like get some like, it caused me to reflect a lot on myself in general. And
that's
so like
awesome.
And then like one of the ideas, I was like, you know what, you should get a camera.
Yeah.
And I finally did, and like so I went back home about a month ago.
Yeah, you did that Malibu trip.
I did.
Not the Malibu trip, the
Malibu trip.
Monterey.
Yeah,
right?
I went to Monterey.
We went the opposite way.
Yeah, I went to Monterey, and then
you go through Big Sur?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
That was okay. Do you know how windy that road is?
Yeah, we drove down.
It is so windy, and also
it's
like
crazy.
You're up at a certain elevation where like you can see the ocean is covered in clouds. It's kind of a scary look.
Yeah, it's
so
cool.
I'm just
though.
like that was kind of terrifying to look at. But like, yeah, I went to Monterey, and then I went back home through there.
That's sweet.
Like after a day, but like, but yeah, like I got a camera for the purpose of that trip, and like I took pictures along the way. I took pictures while I was in Monterey, and then I when I got home to Sacramento, like or Granite Bay, I like took pictures there, and like I started to create a new Instagram page. It's called Urmanita's Photos. Yes, right there. And so basically, what I do is like they're all unfiltered. They're a little bit cropped or whatnot, but basically, it's me taking random slices of life, if you will. Like they're not like the most interesting photos, but like I'm just like taking pictures of things that like, it'd be cool if I took a picture of this. And it's not like I'm just. And the thing is like I'm not just like taking pictures just like point a camera and shoot. Anyone can do that. I mean, like, and it's I mean, having gone to film school, like, I'm gonna sound really pretentious if I say that, but like
we understand.
My point is like when I take photos, it's not like I'm just pointing the camera and shoot. I'm like thinking about, okay, what's the angle I want to go for? What's the like how do I want to change my f-stop, my apertures and stuff? So a lot of me is just like playing around with stuff on the camera and whatnot.
Yeah, and that's another thing to like just it's a creative problem that you can give yourself, so you're not worried about other problems that are just like eating you up inside, you know. It's important to have something, because that's what creativity is, really. It's like problem solving.
Absolutely.
And you want to have something that, especially if you do it with some regularity, that you're just something you can do with regularity that you're using your brain on, because I feel like we're supposed to be anxious as human beings. Just that's how we survived, you know, is by being anxious and always like looking around our shoulders and looking for something wrong so we could fix it and adapt to our environment. But now we're to the point where we're adapting our environment to us, not the other way around. So our brain hasn't adapted to that yet. Our brain is still looking for problems and looking for things that are wrong. So when you do something creative, you're giving yourself that problem solving that your brain really craves, you know, and you get something, you can make something beautiful out of it.
I mean, it's been a long time since I've like just taken just like clips and just like edited them together, like, because that was my emphasis when I went to film school was, and that was your emphasis too.
Yeah, we all did it in Josue.
We
were all in the same class.
All three of us.
We were in the trenches.
Hey, Josue.
Boot camp. In the editing boot camp.
Do you remember Papayden?
Yeah.
She was rough.
Yeah.
But she was also kind of like, she was rough, but she was also a caring kind of rough person.
Yeah,
like
for the audience, we'll talk about how one day we walk into class and you know, one of the first lessons is like, you should always back up your stuff. And so one day we walk into class, all the computers are wiped, like completely clean. All of the stuff is deleted. And our stuff was like due, like we had stuff due every week. So it's like, I hope you backed it up. Like that's how rough it was. And also I'd get there when the computer lab opened at like 8 a.m. when class started.
You're
what
such
time
an
was
overachiever.
Well, when the class started, right? It's when the computer lab opened.
Yeah, I think so. It was 8 a.m. and then it went to like 4 in the afternoon, right?
Yeah, and we're on Avid Media Composer, which is industry standard editing software.
I think it's changed recently because I think most people are going more. Because most people are using Premiere Pro.
Yeah.
I don't know any. I'm sure people are still using like Final Cut as well. But
I use Final Cut.
I mean, when I was in high school, I learned Premiere Pro first, and then I went to Avid, and like I like Avid quite a bit. But like I think it's been too long since I've not worked with Avid.
Yeah.
So like I need to relearn Avid, at least the way I remember it.
And for the class too, it's really hard to move stuff from computers.
It is.
So if you wanted to do your stuff, you'd have to be there. So, and I had to take the bus from my house. So I was like, I'd get there when class would open, and I'd just be there until literally they were locking up the doors, like along with other people, like Jose would be there. I know you would be there sometimes, and we're just trying to.
Yeah, it was like you.
Man,
me,
it was rough.
Yeah, you, me, and Josue would be there. Like, dude, I get so frustrated at times. So this is where, like, okay, so if this might get a little too, I wouldn't say X-rated, but like this. So like, if I haven't already fucking sworn enough, like you're gonna hear me get some really.
That's okay.
I get really frustrated at times. So
I want to say, like, a lot of people kind of assume we're a family show, but I think it's only because that's the only people who watch is my family and stuff. But
so,
just say whatever you want.
So
we're adults. We're
really
adults.
I wouldn't say really offensive, but like I get so frustrated. I would say some weird things I would just pull out of my own ass, like some of the most random, absurd, like, like angry gestures ever out of his mouth, and I was that guy, just like really kind of just like frustrated with some of the stuff. Like, fuck me in the dick. This could fuck me in the dick. This could shoot me in the dick. I don't care. it get pretty raunchy and just like really bad from there. Like that's how.
Well, we called it like editing boot camp. You know, it's like the military, but not
it was.
Quite
Jan
if there was
a
military for editing,
it was.
She would be the
but
staff
like
sergeant.
Jan wasn't Terrence Fletcher from Whiplash.
Yeah.
She was a little bit more caring. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's not like he's like. It's not like if you ever pull a stunt like that again, I will fuck you like a pig. That kind of stuff. It wasn't that bad. But I just remember like some guys in the class kind of like didn't really like do their shit or whatnot, or kind of like, I mean like, but like the thing is like I did okay in that class. I ended up with a C. I could have gone.
C's to get degrees, baby.
I mean they do. I could have.
C.
It does. But I mean like, well, that was already a pretty tough semester for me anyway. Actually. So like my first year of CSUN is very memorable, not just because it was my first year away from family, but it was also like So I'm about to get personal again, like
Okay.
I haven't already, but like, so
I'm not pulling it out of you, by the way. He's doing it himself.
yeah. So like,
I'm not a gotcha kind of guy.
so like, about halfway through the second month or what? So this is September. So like, you remember how we have to take like a writing exam or whatnot?
Yeah.
So I remember I had to do that.
Upper division.
It was like an
UD,
upper division
yeah.
writing exam. You had to write an essay within like an hour or so, I think.
Yeah, I failed that the first time because my handwriting's so bad. I had to do it another time and do it typed.
I nailed it the first try. 'Cause,
Yeah,
like
okay,
writing was so. I mean, I went into writing first. I wanted to be an English major, and then because I wanted to be a writer, and then my mom was like, "No, you need something a little bit more bankable." So film school was the second ideal thing, and guess where I'm working at right now. So let's put that way.
Working retail.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you'd be if you were English, anyways. So.
Yeah, that's true.
It's harder.
But my point is that was a pretty frustrating. So I remember when my parents moved me in, my dad was like kind of like dealing with like back problems and stuff. We had no idea what was going on with him, and so like it turns out, so they waited until after I finished the writing exam. So literally that same day, I went to go meet with some family friends of mine. As soon as I get into the car, my mom calls and it's like, "So there's a reason why you're meeting up with such and such," because I said their names not on purpose. I didn't say their names.
Yeah.
But
that's
like, but there's a reason why they're meeting up with you. So your father's been in the hospital for quite some time. He had some back surgery. After you go have a meal with such and such, you're gonna be flown back to home tonight. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, I go have lunch. I fly back out of Burbank back into Sac, and my brother picks me up. We go straight to the hospital to meet up with Dad. I'm like, I'll never forget. So like, that night was crazy. So I found out that night that my dad had like cancer, and apparently it was stage 4. And I didn't realize just how bad stage 4 was at that point. All I knew is that he had surgery and they removed the tumor from his back. But now he was going to start chemo and stuff. And so like, I was like, oh, well, shit, that's crazy. So, it didn't really hit me until the next day that, oh shit, Dad could die. And I just like, that kind of fucked me up quite a bit.
Yeah.
That's
totally
actually
understand.
one of the contributing factors to my overall mental break was I was thinking about my dad and like that just broke. But yeah.
I can't imagine, dude. That sucks.
But so like when we did, so during that semester, the next
and that's
semester,
while we were dealing with the editing stuff? The
as we were
editing
doing all
boot
the
camp?
editing stuff, I was thinking about dad and stuff or whatnot. So then late February, I find out that Mom's like, so listen, the chemo's just making it worse. Your dad has decided just to spend the rest of his time with friends and family. And that was kind of tough to hear.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was just like, yeah, I wasn't stuff. I ended up having to email my teachers. I told Jan about this. Jan actually. So like, this is how I know Jan is like truly a good person. Like
Real one.
A real one. So like, she pulled me aside like I asked her if I could talk to her. And so like during lunch or whatnot, I go and speak to her. And like we'd go sit in like one of the editing bays. We talk about life and everything, and she's like, "Nope. I mean, you know, you do what you gotta do and stuff or whatnot." So, yeah, no. And she hugged me and everything. No, it's crazy. This is how you know Jan. Yeah. Despite being in boot camp, like despite her running boot camp,
she cared about the students.
She gave a shit.
Yeah.
She actually gave a shit. So so I go see my parents in March for spring break, and then so the day after spring break. Did you and I have like Hogan for was it intermediate film production? Was it or was it not? Either way,
I'm not sure.
Either way, so the next day after
I think I had Nate Thomas.
Nate Thomas.
Yeah.
Okay, you go to spring break and then you come back midterms. Lovely.
Yeah.
So like I finished a midterm pretty early, and because it was pretty fairly simple and easy. I can't speak. So like I see that my Mom has like left me some text messages and phone calls, and I'm like, so I call her back. It's like, hey, what's up? And she's like, how soon can you fly back home? And I'm like, why? Because it's like, so your father, we think this is his last week. So I'm like, oh, okay. So she already has booked the flight, and basically I tell Hogan what's going on. He's like, okay, yeah, go.
Yeah.
And I told him I'm not going to be back for the rest of the week or so. So I go back. And I'm there for at least till the end of the week, and then like It was that was a
That's
couple.
gotta be
that was
rough,
a rough
dude.
week and a half.
I can imagine. I can only imagine.
So the Tuesday, actually, before I fly back here, so that morning, I wake up slowly, and then like mom and my brother come into my room and like, listen, so dad finally stopped breathing.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna come pick up his body in a couple hours. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is happening.
Like a truck.
Yeah, the hearse picks him up,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and that was just rough. And oh yeah, the week and like the day.
And you still have to deal with graduating college and all
I
that.
had to deal with graduating college after the fact, and like I had to talk to, like, I had to tell professors and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like, that was a rough rest of the semester because I mean, like I was dealing with like class and stuff, but I was also dealing with the fact that like shit, my dad's no longer here.
Yeah, and you're away from home. You're trying to deal with social life and all that stuff, and then you're trying to.
Yeah.
You also have to do creative things outside of that. It's like shit, dude.
I remember like I was doing some things, like I was going through dude, I said some shit to my family that like I deeply regret because it was in like anguish and
Yeah.
like and fear
Well,
and anguish and stuff.
I'm glad you could tell the story because that'd be nice to anyone watching. Like, if something devastating happens in your life, like you could still, if you really feel like in your art and soul that you really need to finish school or you need to finish whatever you're doing, like it's possible. It's just the toughest thing ever. I bet.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just that. It was also like I had to. My parents made me promise.
Yeah.
But like,
of course.
but no, but it's true though. I did it, and like actually, so this bracelet, you probably have seen me wear this bracelet quite a lot, like when we were in college. But I wear it pretty much every day. But basically, so it says here, you probably can't zoom on it, but it says, "Do it for Dad." So I got this bracelet the night I came back home and learned about Dad's diagnosis. My brother had ordered these bracelets, and basically it was a way to motivate us through like the time and stuff or whatnot. And so, and now I still wear it, not because it's just a great accessory, but also like it just helps me kind of like get through things.
Yeah.
I often like I don't think about it very often, but you know I have this or whatever.
Yeah, it's comforting. And isn't that also like a survival kind of bracelet? Like you could use that rope for something, like if you get in a sticky situation.
I don't know.
I thought that's what it was.
Say something a little bit similar.
Yeah.
About this, I don't know. I've never. Dude, this rope is so old. It's probably so flimsy. It probably wouldn't work. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it's crazy. So like, I try to like get through life. Okay, I mean, like I still think about Dad from time to time. Actually, I don't know when this airs, but like, so
Maybe 2 weeks from now. No, yeah, 2 weeks from now.
So like April 5th
Okay.
is going to be 6 years.
Wow.
That's pretty crazy. Say 6 years. That's a lot to take in. So
Yeah, I bet like every year on the anniversary it's got to be tough.
So when I did my senior thesis, it was based around my kind of like my grieving process at the time. The story sucks.
Yeah.
The story. I mean,
So we're not gonna make it available online for anyone?
The story sucks. The first part of it I will keep because I want to go back. I mean, it wasn't approved because, as we know, when we worked on senior thesis, like my project wasn't chosen, but that's okay. I was all right with that because I kind of didn't want. I wasn't interested in doing senior thesis, like creating my own senior thesis. But my parents, or no, mom was, and like some other friends of ours were like, you know what, like. Wouldn't you rather say you at least attempted?
Tried it, yeah.
Yeah, tried it. So like, yeah.
I didn't even attempt. I was like, I'm not going to do this. I didn't have any good ideas.
I mean, but yeah, I had one great idea, and like people actually really liked the idea quite a bit. So like, unfortunately, like I said, it didn't go through. But it's a story. If my first project I will ever do will be centered around something around that
That's
story.
great. Don't give away too many details because you don't want anyone to steal the idea.
Well, yeah,
You know.
but I'm sure like.
We got a lot of rotten, dirty criminals behind
Well,
that.
no, I mean,
Yeah.
like, do you know what's funny? So, like, my dad and I had a pretty great relationship,
Yeah.
but like, the problem with that one too is like, my dad and I didn't really. Well, no, we connected a lot, and I loved the hell out of him and stuff, but it was sometimes just hard to disconnect with him in some ways, and so it was tough for me.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that. You know, you can make it through stuff. I had a similar, cancer story. My great aunt, who it was just really quick. Just like I remember hearing that she was sick, and then my sister, like a week later, said like, she's not gonna last very long. So we went up there as soon as we could, and we were actually there like as when she took her last breaths, and we were all just in the same room telling stories about how much we were gonna miss her and all the stuff we did, and That was a lot to go through. And I was done with school at that point, so if I couldn't do what you did. That was my great aunt. I wasn't like a parent or anything, but she was super close to me. She might as well have been like a second, grandmother or third parent almost. So if I was in school during, I wouldn't have gone back to school after.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been like, yeah, I'm through. I'm good.
I mean, like.
But wait, real quick, I think we should maybe lighten it up a little bit.
Sure, yeah, if you want. If you want to, say you were asking about my podcast, we talked about movies and stuff, but
I know you do like a recommending thing.
Kind of a recommendation section or whatnot.
So do you want to do a recommendation? Is there anything you haven't done the podcast in a while? Is there any recommendations that have been brewing in your head?
So go see Spider-Man No Way Home and Batman. Those are like the two best comic book movies that have come out in a while.
And actually something I wanted to ask you about that. I was at, I think it was Box Lunch. It was some store in the mall, and this guy was buying Eternals merch, and they were talking about the movie. And I think this is something that I don't know if we'll agree or disagree on this, but they were talking about the movie. I haven't seen it. I really haven't been keeping up with movies at all lately. For COVID, I working from home, so I'm like I don't have to drive back and forth to work anymore. I have so much more free time in the day. From not having to do that, so I just went into video games. So I'm gonna play video games. So I went through my backlog, and I've barely watched movies, and I haven't been keeping up with music at all. I've just been playing video games. Because I was like, when am I ever gonna have an opportunity like this again?
See, I play a lot of video games too on my downtime.
But you have movies playing in the background while you play.
I am a multitasking son of a bitch. Not just playing movies, but maybe it's like I'm streaming like a show, or I'm like just watching some YouTube videos, or even if I play another podcast in the background, I'm playing video games. I really should be taking that time to like watch movies, or like maybe do some writing or do some other talk. And yet I don't do it, which is I don't know what that says about me.
It's hard to stay with it, but anyway, the Eternals thing, I remember someone saying like, oh, like, did you like that movie? I heard it wasn't so good. And someone's like, yeah, it wasn't bad. Like, I don't see why people are really so upset about it. Like, it wasn't bad. But I feel like if you're like Disney, Marvel, and you have like the biggest budgets, you have the biggest stars, you can get anyone on your movie. You have unlimited everything, resources to make movies. Don't you think that making something that isn't, where you're just like, oh, it's not bad, isn't that like the worst thing it could possibly be? Is not bad?
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. It doesn't matter how much money you throw at it. If a movie's bad, it's bad.
Yeah.
So I've seen Eternals. It was fine. I mean, it wasn't like
But shouldn't, I'm just saying, with all the resources and all the things they could do for writers and actors and everything, why should we settle with not bad? I feel like, isn't that like a sign of it kind of declining in the popular?
I mean, it can, but like, there are some really great movies that like have some really great big budgets out there. Like, I'll use the Batman for example.
Okay.
So like,
I haven't seen that yet. I kind of do want to see that one.
So that just recently crossed over like $500 million at this point. But at least overseas. But like the thing with that movie is that yes, it's got a big budget, but what's more important is like the people working behind it. Like the director is like Matt Reeves. He's like a true cinema master when it comes to like, okay, that's a little bit of a stretch, but like he really knows his craft when he's working on a big budget, like like he did like the two Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, or the two last Planet of the Apes movies, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes, and those are like considered like some of the best science fiction movies ever made, especially for those movies, for that franchise alone. And then like he's doing the Batman, and like the Batman's not considered like one of the best Batman movies ever made, and also one of the best comic book movies ever made. The reason why it also works too is that it doesn't feel like a comic book movie. It feels more like a detective, like noir story that happens to feature a masked vigilante as its main character.
I see.
So like the script and like you can have like, here's the difference. Like you can throw all the money you want in it. Like if the script unfortunately doesn't work, if the direction isn't great, the writing isn't good, and the acting's whatever, whatnot, your product's not great. But if you have the right people working on a big budget project that like really have the passion or whatnot into it, then I think your movie is going to really work. And that's why the Batman worked. I think that's why Spider-Man No Way Home worked.
Okay.
That's why something like Shang-Chi works. like that's why Nolan's like Batman or Dark Knight trilogy works.
But I just can't.
There's a lot of passion behind it.
Yeah, but I don't like when something has such a big budget. It's kind of like, how dare you not have passion for this? Like you have so many people are aspiring to be high, making, having big budgets, and now you're just doing this, and it feels like you don't care. Like it's not ending. It's not turning out.
Talk to like some of the big studios that like keep just like.
I'd like to. We're gonna get. Hopefully, some of you guys are watching out there, because how dare you? How dare you waste people's time? Like I think about like the average like blue collar worker like who's going to the movies. The majority of people who are going to the movies like aren't actively thinking about certain things.
The thing is,
and they go and you're wasting their time. I feel
the thing is too is like you don't have to actually. This is something I was watching. So like. I don't know if you know who this is. Chris Stuckman. He's a YouTuber.
I think I've heard of him.
He's like the most well-known film critic on YouTube.
I know him.
So like he's doing a movie.
He has the song the.
So he has he has a Kickstarter for his new horror film he's working on called Shelby Oaks. It is the highest funded like movie on Kickstarter right now in history, at least for horror. I think it's like over. They reached over $550,000 last I checked, but like he's in Indiana. He's somewhere back east. I think it's Indiana, and he's like very passionate about film and whatnot. And he hasn't set foot in LA. I mean, he's gone to LA to visit and stuff, but he hasn't like gone to LA, which proves that like you don't really need to go to LA.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'm just here because like I just want to get away from everyone else.
Yeah.
That's not. I mean, like that's kind of the thing though too is like. It is in this, and like you know this very well. Like in the entertainment industry, you can like know a lot about the industry and like have a lot of like talent and knowledge. But at the end of the day, it's also about the connections you have.
Yeah.
And I think you and I right now don't have. I mean, like at least just for me, I don't know about you, but like the connections are a little bit like.
I got connections, baby.
You see, I know you do, so I don't. I mean, well, that's good for you.
I got the top producer in Hollywood right behind me.
That's good for you. That's great. Alice, you're doing the Lord's work. I think.
She's awesome. She's doing great. Best producer in Hollywood. She actually just got a job at a talent agency.
Oh, did you?
She's been working there for like a month and a half.
You know, it's something.
Hollywood, baby.
You know, it's something like. So the other thing with my podcast too is like, when I started it, it's like, I thought it'd be a good kind of resume or portfolio just because of like I don't know if you've noticed, but like so about my job, I work at a retail store, like a major retail store, and like I work primarily in guest services, and I'll do like I the way I talk or whatnot, like people have told me like, your voice is really good or really it has a certain essence to it. You ever thought about doing voice acting and stuff? I'm like, it's been on my mind.
Have I thought about it?
Have I thought about it? But no, I'm surprised I haven't really done anything on that. Like my mom has said this to me. Like I've had friends say this to me. I've had like random strangers at work say this to me. Like I'm like, because I know one of our other classmates.
Yeah, I think we had someone.
She was like an associate. She was a first AD on the senior thesis I worked on, and now she's like an actor.
Oh wow.
So she's doing great.
Yeah.
But like. I don't know. I'm surprised because like I mean I did do drama in like high school and then a little bit in like community college. So it's like
go for it.
I know. I'm not classically trained or anything like that.
Well, you know what I've been saying? Like there's so many people putting so much shit on the internet. Like why can't we shit on the internet too? Like what's the difference? So just put your stuff out. Who cares? Like hardly anyone's gonna see this, and it's just fun to make. It's also nice to have a cohesive body of work. Like it's impressive that you have. Maybe.
My person might watch this. You never know.
Through your connections. Anyway, one last thing I wanted to talk about before we got to wrap it up a little bit.
Sure.
But video game recommendations. Have you played Elden Ring yet?
So no. So I'm the kind of guy that doesn't like jump on the hype train like that.
No, but I totally understand. But Elden Ring is not just hype. Let me tell you that right now.
I heard it's pretty freaking good. Like,
you've been talking about all this stuff, and I'm just thinking Elden Ring. I'm kidding.
No, I mean I've heard it's pretty good. Like I'm like it's not. I mean like the fantasy genre is not really like my cup of tea.
Me either.
I'm
throwing everything at you.
I played like the Middle Earth, Shadow of Mordor, and
those
Shadow
are good
of War
ones.
games. Those are good. Like for whatever reason, I like Skyrim does not interest me in the slightest.
Skyrim is what doesn't interest you about it? Like
I think the internet and just everyone talking about it and the hype just killed it for me.
Yeah.
The other thing, I mean, like I started playing a little bit of The Witcher 3, the Wild.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
It's very good. But the things that a lot of like Horizon Zero Dawn, Ghost of Tsushima, those are PlayStation stuff.
Is fucking great.
They're good. It's starting to rain a little bit. Oh no! But anyway, the thing about that, I feel like they a lot of times give you a to-do list, and you have to check things off the to-do list, and it doesn't really feel like you're exploring. It feels like you're checking off a list and doing things in a certain order that you're supposed to. In Elden Ring, you go out, you have this whole world,
and just explore.
And you're like, where do I go? They don't tell you where to go. There's one guy who talks to you, is like, hey, sup, loser? You don't have a maiden? It's like, you're not going to get very far, but you could try to beat this guy. There's a guy you see that big castle over there? There's a guy over there, you could try to beat him. And then you just go, he pretty much just tells you to go, you know.
I mean, I do appreciate sandbox games like that allow you that freedom, but
yeah, but
I also like a coherent storyline in games.
But the thing is, too, I played all the Dark Souls games. I played Bloodborne. I played Demon Souls, all in a row to get prepared for Elden Ring.
My friends on Discord would love you.
Yeah, so I got I played through all of them. I was ready for Elden Ring, and I was so hyped. I've never been so hyped for a video game in so long, since like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate or something. And then it comes out, and I immediately put like 100 hours into it. It's so awesome. I recommend Elden Ring to anyone. And have you played Bloodborne before?
So I think I downloaded it as part of
PlayStation Plus. Yeah,
but I haven't played it.
If you have a PlayStation, you haven't played Bloodborne, you're a damn fool. I'm sorry. Card fool? No. We've been talking that much. Okay, we need to do a shoot. Let me see.
Good.
You ready? Go on. All right. We're running out of time right now. I wish we could talk more. Huh? Oh. We're running out of time right now. Our memory card's getting full because we're so full of information we're giving to you guys for free, I might add. Perhaps maybe I'll be on this podcast when it ends hiatus, if you guys need a guess. Card full, really?
Oh my god.
Do you want to record on your... Do you have your phone? Producer Ellis is quick thinking, and we got this outro right now on our iPhone. Sorry if there's any loss of quality. It might actually look better. Who knows? Thank you very much, Eric, for coming on. I was thinking it'd be very fun, since you're starting this new photography venture, to maybe you and Hostway maybe go out and take some pictures somewhere. Maybe...
I mean, that guy would just outclass me in every way.
I don't know, but it's... you know, his stuff is abstract. You don't know what you're looking at when you're seeing those.
I'm too fucking simple. Like, have you seen it? I've seen his photos. See how fucking amazing those photos are?
Well, maybe we'll both.
And then, like, I just have a picture of, like, action figures and, like, PlayStation logos.
Maybe we can learn a thing or two, huh?
Oh, you never know.
And we might not. We'll see if producer Ellis might be down to record that while we're doing it. I don't know. I'd have to use my camera, which I used to shoot. I'm not sure exactly how it'd work. At the very least, it'd be fun to have all three of the guests I had, Professor Uranga, Hostway, and Eric, maybe all around the Fireside chat and talking. I don't know how that would work with mics. I don't know if that's ever going to be something that's possible. But I'm just saying, in the future, look forward for stuff. As far as like what to call in about, just call in about anything. Maybe you could call in anonymously and tell some retail stories about stuff. I don't know.
Let me tell you about this one car I dealt with.
So thank you guys for watching. I'm not sure what we're going to do in the future, but I've said that at the end of every episode, and we always have stuff for you. Have I ever let you down? Link in the bio. Do it. You can subscribe if you want. If not, it doesn't matter. Thank you guys. Thank you very much, Eric. We'll do the handshake on camera. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.